Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, viewers. Welcome once more to Requiem for London. Our scene is set deep within Smithfield Market. An individual, a corpse, to all but those like him, and some who are not, is strapped down to a table in a meat locker. A piece of wooden board sticking through his heart. It was hastily filed down, so it is in a very awkward point, if you could see the point through his pierced chest. His facial expression is one of shock, but his eyes are wide open. Outside, a man is approaching. He opens the door, and the cool mist of the air conditioning system for the locker begins to creep out, like the London fog washing over the Thames. He steps inside. He forces himself to breathe in the smell of fresh meat, both literal and figuratively.
As McGee will enter the room, he will have with him a milk bowl, funny enough, full of red liquid, and it is the blood of a recently slain animal. And he carries this with him and places it beside the strapped down individual. And he will look over the individual a bit more thoroughly now, and he still can't place this odd feeling that the individual gives him, a kind of a distant memory of something, a memory he can't quite grasp or catch. And after a while, he will get one of his butcher knives, which are probably laid out on a separate table near him, and he'll proceed to just gently cut, like a small cut, very precise cut on the gentleman's arm, and he's going to give the cut a big sniff, and he's going to try and determine what blood this person, what unique qualities of his blood. I think I'm going to have to roll for this. Hold on. I think it's wits plus blood potency. So it's 3, 4, and then blood potency is 2. Okay, so he's only got the 1 success, but that counts as an exceptional success. So he's sniffing the blood, and he's trying to determine what this individual smells like. What does his blood give away?
Well, you will notice several things, several strange things. He is undoubtedly kindred. He is no other strange other that creeps in the darkness of the world, that shares the night with the kindred. But you smell something wrong with him. You smell and the fragrance of kindred blood, kindred heritage, the intoxicating aroma of the Deva, the faint hint of Meket, the rotting stench of the Nosferatu, the almost aged finery of the Ventru, and the more organic smell of your own. There's nothing at all, just raw kindred vitae.
With that, he'll be very intrigued. This is probably something he's never smelt before. And he'll probably lick his lips slightly in a sort of something different, something unique. And then he'll proceed to carry on and sort of clean his tools before he unstakes the individual.
After about a minute or so, since you already did such an exceptional success, you will smell her before you hear the sound of footsteps coming up. Even from within the meat locker, you can catch the faint, subtle hints of Maquette, this particular shadow. The door to the meat locker will open again, and Adriana Abruzzo will step inside, a little surprised to see Butcher McGee already there, already with his tools.
Yeah, McGee. Funny enough, McGee will have his back turned to Adriana, and you'll hear him just go sharpening these tools, and then he'll just, without even turning, he'll just go, "Well, it's nice of you to come by, Adriana."
And very few can detect the shadow before she approaches, but McGee does. She is not treating this as a hostile environment at this time, but she probably should. But she is certainly interested in the subject. She's been making detailed reports to interested parties, and she has come to see for herself what this individual may have to say, or the secrets that his blood or injuries may betray. She is wary about approaching this district as she did before, but she walks in and she says, "Good evening, McGee," and she kind of moves to his left.
McGee will as you say that, he will suddenly just slam the tools onto the table, and it's a metal table, so all the tools clank and shudder, and he'll turn around and have his arms folded, and again he's got these huge muscles. He's a very big sort of figured man, and he'll turn to you and go, "I see you've come by to visit, to interrogate this subject, which I did give you permission to come back, but I am rather suspicious. Do you know what that means?" And he'll look across the wall, probably the wall behind you, imagine, and there's a black hand mark on the wall. And he goes, "You don't have any involvement with that, do you?"
Quick question. I thought the mark was on the individual's neck, not the wall.
Oh, is it on his neck?
Yeah, it would be over his neck.
Okay, sorry, he would say the neck. Sorry, my bad.
It's okay.
That's okay. Yeah, because if fucking up his dome, I would see McGee getting pissed over that.
No, he's already pissed, but he's like, all right. So you see the individual with the black mark around his throat, black hand mark around his throat. And point out.
So, looking at McGee's questioning of her, concerns her that he just kind of asked her a few rapid fire questions, as this is not his typical demeanor. Usually, he puts on his little McGee bluster. So she's a little on guard, but she kind of looks at him and cleans her head over to see the corpse, and she sees the clear mark of the black hand. And do I have to roll to betray anything, or because she would do her best not to, but
I'd like
she
to
would have a
think
reaction.
Your character has enough, I suppose, tutelage to have a good amount of betraying. So I'd say only if McGee tries to actually see if she's trying to hide, will you have to roll?
I think because Butch at the moment he's paranoid. He's suspicious. So he's seen this black hand mark before, but never in his haven, and never so quickly. Because this is literally the next night this black hand mark has come. So he's very suspicious and paranoid at the moment. So he will try to determine if she reacts to the statement or to the individual.
In that case, give me I'd say, manipulation plus subterfuge plus an additional 1 for that tutelage.
So is it
Minus,
McGee?
let's say minus McGee's wits,
His wits is 4.
unless you would like to make a contested roll. I'll give you the option.
I think just -4. That's
All
fine.
right.
Do I have to roll?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
I still
Equity,
don't
I'll
have
wait.
those.
Weird.
So what am I rolling?
Wits. No, sorry. Manipulation plus subterfuge plus 1 minus 4.
Okay.
You can spend willpower if you like. It'll give you a +3 for the scene.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend that willpower because. Okay. So the willpower spent, he doesn't get anything. Correct?
Oh no, it pluses 3 dice.
Oh, am I still? Am I rolling? Okay.
Yeah, you just plus 3 dice.
Sorry, this is a lot of math.
Sorry about that.
All right, so I've basically got 5 plus. Wait, so it's 5 altogether plus -4. So that
Okay,
leaves me with
so-
2 dice, and then add 3 to that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so 5, which is
Yep.
where I started.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Pretty damn good too.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Boom. Okay.
Yep, you got it. So as far as you can tell, McGee, she betrays no hint that she has any, knowledge of this sheriff. If anything, she seems just as concerned as you are that the Black Hand appeared as quickly as it did. It's no surprise that people know that the sheriff is one of the shadows, but, like you, have barely had any contact at all with some of the Gangrel elders, so it's understandable to see that this might be jumping to a conclusion, especially when the sheriff seems to be ever present.
Okay. I was actually, if Andriana, you wanted to.
Yeah, I think you kind of took that in a different direction, Ben. What I was thinking was, her reaction to that was going to be like an "oh shit" type thing. But what she would say to McGee and try and play it very coolly, and she would look over and go, "Well, that was fast." And if he had questioned her, they would go from there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay then.
Because if he doesn't know, I mean, it would behoove him to know going forward whose mark that is, and she wouldn't keep that from him.
Yeah.
Okay then. Well, McGee should know.
They're building a coterie here. Come on.
Yes.
It's fine. That is, if that is what you want, then that is
Yes.
goes down. So, never mind. So.
Well, so as you say, oh, that was fast. McGee again with his arms crossed, and again he seems quite tense. He seems angry, but then he suddenly phases me and goes, "My thoughts exactly." It's very quick, quite impressive to be honest. He must have been watching us for some time. The sheriff, I'm sure you know, or where? Sorry, you were saying.
As McGee is speaking, she kind of circles around to the other side, and her arms are folded gently in front of her, and she appears to be looking at the corpse, or not the corpse, the individual who is incapacitated, but she's very aware of what McGee is saying and what he's doing, and for a moment, her eyes meet his, and then she looks away and she says, "He's always watching, McGee. You better believe that." And she continues to kind of walk, and she says, "I'm assuming he hasn't said anything. You haven't unstaked him at this point?"
No, I haven't unplugged him yet, but I'm sure he'll be hungry when he wakes. I've got some blood ready for him to drink. I've already had a bit of a taste of him myself. He's kindred, but doesn't smell right. Smells raw. Smells new, very new.
She will listen to him, and she will kind of move her arm down and drum it on the table, and she will say, "No family," with a, like, inquiring, "No family?"
Doesn't seem to smell or taste of any clan or family. You actually, does he know that you're McKay? I'm not even sure if he knows you're.
He's probably assuming it at
Oh,
this
okay, he's
point.
assuming.
If he assumed she was something else at this point, he would question it. Or, he may think, he can ask if he thinks she might be a Nos, or if he's like, I'm tired of all this bullshit.
He'll say in a raised eyebrow, and he say,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, he doesn't smell of any clan. You see, each of us have a particular taste. You, Maquette, for instance, have a very subtle, diluted and yet potent flavour."
Her eyebrow goes up at diluted, but she continues to look at the individual, and she says, "Well, I'll be honest with you. I expected as much from this. The fact that he wandered into this area and created the chaos he did leads me to believe he was desperate and hungry, and that there was no one telling him what to do." And she looks. All of a sudden, she will kind of quickly walk to the other side, and she will say, "He needs to be secured before we question him."
Oh, sorry, he is tied down.
Okay.
He's tied down with ropes, and he looks like a lamb ready for the slaughter.
And she will. Is there a stool or a bench or something she could sit on?
Yeah. There's stools, chairs, benches.
She will kind of heavily sit down on one of the stools near the table, and she will look at McGee very intently, and she will say, "I'd like to hear what this guy has to say, McGee, but I'll be honest with you. And she will kind of point to the insignia on the guy's neck, and she will say, if he's involved, and it appears he is, you want to save what's left of him, because he won't want this one in pieces." Do you understand what I'm saying?
I'm never met the sheriff myself, but I've heard of his reputation. I won't get myself too heavily involved. Hopefully, I won't have to chop off too many pieces of him to make him talk. He'll look to like the knives or the butcher's knives on the corner. But perhaps you may be better at getting information out of him. You seem to be the more talkative type.
She will snort when he says that, and she will say, "Well, thank you for the compliment." She will then walk around to his side. Quick question, out of character. What would be the last communication that the sheriff would have given to Aid?
Basically, he would have responded to the message that you sent him, and
Okay.
it would have basically been, wait for my signal, proceed with caution. You would have gotten that signal earlier today, which is why you were here.
Okay. No worries. Okay, so she would then tell McGee, if you're ready, I'd love to hear what this guy has to say.
Okay, so McGee he'll put one hand down on the individual to press, and it seems like he's really pushing down hard to make sure the guy doesn't try to spontaneously get out. And with the other hand, he'll just slowly twist the stake. It's probably really in there. So he's slowly twisting it. A bit of blood probably spurts as he removes it, and a bit of blood splatters on the very clean. It's all very clean, this room. It's very hygienic, but blood sort of splatters out slightly. And Ben, what happens?
Well, when that happens, the individual who had been staked just sort of and then just very, like, frantically just look around, fangs extended, like, still, like, almost cracked from the impact of Chester's boot to his face. As his eyes just frantically look around, bloodshot, panicked, seeing the butcher, seeing the shadow, seeing the meats hanging off of the wall. It just says, no, no, not like this, not like this, ah, help, ah, ah, ah. And then he'll just sort of smell the blood, and all of a sudden a change will come over him. Since you're so close, you will all see it too, as the eyes dart to the vial of blood, and all semblance of rational thought goes away as he just goes, trying to get it just raw, untamed. This is an individual who is starving. And even Butcher McGee and even Adriana have never seen a kindred like that before.
Wow. I'm guessing McGee's going to be trying to hold him down. I think even with he's quite a strong individual, but even with that, this guy is proper.
Yeah, he's
trying to get
rocking the table right now.
Yeah. So McGee will probably have to put down two hands just to keep him contained, and he'll look to Adriana and look at the blood like, I think this fella wants a drink.
As McGee is holding him down, she will, with some haste, go in and retrieve the bowl that he's prepared. And, kind of, it's probably bigger in her hands than it is in his. So she will kind of very quickly and quietly bring it over to the table. She looks at McGee and she says, "This might get messy."
Don't worry about the mess. We have a girl comes around every Tuesday, cleans up.
She will sigh and look at the individual whose mouth and tongue is probably licking out in her direction and is almost trying to move off the table into the bowl, and she will do her best to kind of slop some of it into his mouth.
All right. I'm assuming that there's only enough to really give him one blood point at this point.
Probably.
It's because it's animal blood. It only every two counts for one, so it's probably just one blood point. Yeah.
All right, then that's still enough to stop him from. Well, not enough to stop him by much, but he just laps it up. He just does everything, like even like long after like you finish emptying the bowl, he's still just trying to get every single drop, trying to like get it as it pools onto the table next to him. Trying to frantically get it up. And as soon as there's no more, you see just the bestial, almost glow go away as he just looks around in this look of utter helplessness upon him, of in confusion, in fear. As it just goes, what the fuck? Could you please roll me humanity? Because if this, he's been suffering a lot of breaking points lately.
Humanity. Is it 5 dice? Sorry, is this humanity for him or?
Yeah, it's for him. He does have he does have touchstones holding him. That's the only reason he hasn't lost any yet.
Okay, so is it humanity 7? Or?
Yeah, it would start 7, yeah.
Alright, so it's 5 dice. Plus 2.
Well, he has 2 touchstones right now.
You plus an additional dice for every other touchstone you have.
Oh crap! Then he has this is gonna be 8.
Yeah, so that's the idea. You're young, you get lots of dice.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Okay.
yeah, 1, 2, so he's fine.
He just continues saying that again and again. He just sort of now just looks up. What do you do?
Seeing it because he stopped frenzy and he stopped being aggressive, McGee's still going to be holding him down.
Okay. I think Adriana would probably.
He'll look to Adriana to do the talking.
She would look at the individual and she would try and smile, but she is at the same time intrigued and repulsed by his behavior. It's something she's never seen, and she there's balance between pity and scorn there. And she says to him, "Can you tell me your name?"
He just looks. You can see that he's scared, but given where he is right now, he just says, "My name's Jack. Jack Callahan. Please let me go. I don't know who you're working for, but I was just doing a job. I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't ask for any of this. The fuck?"
Adriana's facial expression changes when he says, "I was just doing a job." It changes from that kind of pitying to one of concern, and it's a definite change that McGee would see. She does her best to kind of snap out of that for a moment, and she says she would take a hand and maybe gently put it on his shoulder, and then she would say, "It's okay. What job? What happened to you?"
I'm. I'm. Uh, well, there's no clean way of saying it. I'm. I'm a fixer, ma'am. Working here out of London. Me and my boys, we help people move things, get things back from deadbeats. But we were attacked. We were doing a job, and we were all. Oh God. Am I dead? Is this hell?
She will look up at McGee as if to say, don't say anything. Just look at him. Shoot him a look.
Yeah. McGee just gives him a big look, and he'll probably smile with his fangs drawn down in that kind of very. I'd say his fangs are a lot more animalistic. They're a lot sharper, and more of his teeth are sharp. He just gives him a big smile, just going like.
Okay, so if she were to use Auspex, what would I just ask him a question, or would I mentally ask him a question?
Oh no, but basically is just observe him. Like, you get bonuses if you're in intimate contact, and basically just sort of leaning over him, maybe having a hand on his shoulder will give you bonuses to Auspex. And what you do is your beast begins to come to the surface, and it begins to peer through your eyes, hear through your ears, even taste through your tongue, as it were.
Okay.
And what happens is that the beast sees all of these images because its sight is so much beyond that of the man, the human. It is able to perceive things about the individual that would not normally be apparent. The supernatural perception then translates to you, and that's when you'll get these images. So mechanically, just ask me a question, immediate, about this situation. And I'm not sure if there's a rule for level 1 or if I just tell you. But I think you only get like 1 free, and then everyone beyond that as you start spending blood per scene.
Okay. So we'll go with that. Sounds good. As she has her hand and he's speaking, she would ask him one question, but at the same time, as you said, the shadowy beast of the maquette is rising in her and reaching into this man's psyche to find out specifically what is the last thing he can remember. But actually, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it is a roll.
Okay, good.
Let me find it right here. Gives you a +3 bonus. It's going to be wits plus empathy plus Auspex.
Right on. Okay, so we're going to do... Okay, so that is 7 dice for me.
Oh, nice. 2 8s. That's a success.
Yay. Okay, so she would continue to talk to the gentleman, just basically saying, "It's okay. What's the last thing you can tell me?" But at the same time, her psyche is reaching into his, trying to get images of the last thing he has seen, what were the smells, what were the, obviously he expired, and that's the moment of his death is what she's looking for.
In that case, I would say since this level of aspects only gives you a danger
Oh.
or weakness, it will give you a danger.
Oh. Okay.
And as he says, we were moving shipments of something. I would assume it's drugs. It's usually drugs. I mean, who the hell smuggles anything else these days? Alcohol. You can just buy it anywhere. But there was something else there. We were moving it through old tube stations, and then as you say that, all of a sudden, like out of the corner of your eye, like something moves in the shadow of the meat locker. You begin to hear a is this thing crawling on all fours, an eye, red, glows out of the darkness, and it begins to, just ever so slowly, go almost as though it's actually just swimming through a faint water that is coating the floor, as though you're standing in a swamp of some kind. But the ticking is getting louder.
Okay, to clarify, this is what she's getting from her specs, or okay, good. Because I was like, if there's something in the room, we have a problem.
But you probably
You don't see or sense anything.
Okay.
Although you begin to get a little weirded as she sort of begins just looking very concerned, following some spectral thing. But the man continues. He says, "Then they started disappearing. We'd be moving first. Tom vanished, then Brian, then oh god, I did die, didn't I? I was grabbed, and then he'd almost go to feel his chest, but he's constrained, so he begins struggling against it and begins panicking again and says, I died. It killed me. That thing in the darkness.
McGee will get a bit frustrated. This guy's whimpering, and he'll probably hit the table next to his head and go like bang, and just sort of go, "Tell us where did you die, you dog?"
It was, and as he says that, you actually see it now, moving out of the darkness. Adrian, this crocodile, this rotting corpse-like crocodile with the eyes of a kindred, this tick-tock, tick-tock, coming from inside. You can see the eyes have an Egyptian glyph running down. It opens its mouth and the smell of fresh blood greets you. As he says, and I don't actually know the exact tube station, but he'll say the tube station that they were smuggling the stuff through.
Oh, okay. So it would say the underground.
To go, to bring it into London, use the tube stations to bypass the police, and then wind up in a warehouse where the boss essentially would have been waiting there to pay them for it.
Okay, so he describes a tube station, or the underground tube station. I don't know. Yeah, McGee will look to Adriana and just sort of quirk his head and sort of, that's NOS territory. What the hell are they doing in there?
For a moment, it appears that Adriana is distracted as she is hearing this crocodile from hell slithering behind her, and she looks at the gentleman and she goes, "You must have been very scared."
As he just sort of looks up at you, still confused, still panicked, he says, the fuck?
Adriana will move in closer to him and almost kind of stroke his hair a little bit. And she will say, "Shh, it's okay." She will look at him and she'll say, "You don't want to die, do you?"
He just shakes his head.
And then she will kind of get in his ear and whisper, then you have to do everything I tell you to do. Do you understand?
He just nods his head.
And she will look up and she will kind of point at McGee and she will say, you must mind him and listen to him too. We are here to help you. Right, McGee? And she will kind of look up at him and smile.
Yeah, McGee's just like, oh, yes, yes, of course we're here to help him. Just don't cross me. What are you doing in Smithfield Market anyway?
Is he just
Adriana will answer for him and she will say, it's obvious what he was doing.
Did he know it was my patch? I'm assuming he didn't. Because that would be a very different matter if he knew.
Look, man, I didn't know this was your turf or nothing. I just...
She will, as she sees this where the situation is going, and she will bend down. What was his name again? I'm sorry.
His name is Jack. Jack Callahan.
And she will lean down and she'll say, Jack, listen to me very carefully. She will say, it's important that we put you to sleep again, just for a little while.
What?
We're going to bring help. It's okay. And she will look up at McGee and she will make the
Yeah, McGee, he doesn't need to roll for this, but yeah, he sort of smiles and he really does want to hurt this person because they fed in on his territory. That's a huge thing for him. That's a massive insult. So he just and just getting a bit of blood spurts as he does it. Nighty night, you bollock.
I guess Adriana is probably gets sprayed with blood as he does that, just a little bit, on her nice, $300 suit jacket.
Yeah. Oh, McGee again. He's got his apron on and trousers and nothing else. So it's blood. It's already got blood on it. It doesn't matter.
And she will just kind of go to flick herself off, and she will say, that could have gone a little better.
Older, it could have gone far worse. But don't know why. I feel a bit of sympathy for this cockroach.
She will look up at McGee and she will say, you said this was Nos territory. How do you know that?
Wow. I'm assuming he would know. He's been around for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, she may not. That's why she's
yeah, no, that's what he's saying. Well, look, been around for a bit. I have a grasp on certain places you shouldn't go. The underground and sewers, that's Nos territory. You better get permission before you go down there. They get very upset, just like me.
Did Mr. Callahan have a wallet on him?
Yes, he did.
Is it still on him?
Yes, it is.
As McGee is regaling her with tales of sewers, she will feel in this individual's pocket and pull out his wallet. She will open it, and I'm assuming he has some kind of operator's license, either international or British or
he's
whatever.
It looks like that he just recently became a British citizen because his card dates back to a few years ago. You kind of got that from the way he was talking too. There's still hints of, well, since you're also from the States, a hint of an American accent lingering. Other than that, you see that there's a couple things. He's got only like a few bucks on him. He does have like a credit card. He does have a few other cards as well, like a health insurance card. And it appears he has a crumpled piece of paper that just says tab on it and some exorbitant number.
And does his license say Jack Callahan? So
yes, it does.
It does. Okay.
Jack Callahan.
Are there any work IDs? Any maybe unmarked passes, like a magnetic strip to get into a building? Anything like that?
There is one card that is unmarked that has a magnetic strip. But other than that, it doesn't appear like he has any cards to identify where he works.
Okay, she will remove the license from the wallet and put the wallet back into his pocket. She'll look up at McGee and she will say, I think he and his crew were hunted by... I don't know. I don't know what lurks in these sewers in London. Have you ever been up there?
Oh, yeah, he's probably has been in the tube or the underground. Yeah, he's probably met up with a few nos. Oh, he knows the bunny rabbit at the Shunt Club, so yeah, he would know. So he goes, well, I have, with their permission, visited once or twice. Smells awful. Most of the nos bastards are ugly as sin. But if they were working there underground, they wouldn't do this. They'd probably scare them off. They're very good at that. But to kill them, it's very messy, especially with this individual becoming turned like this.
She will, as you know, she's kind of tapping the license between her fingers as McGee's speaking, and you know, her wheels are turning on the other side also, and she says, it's very interesting. We don't get many of these. We don't get many of these. She says, he's an orphan. That means one of two things, McGee. You understand that, right?
Sorry, Ben, with McGee, what would he know on this particular type of kindred?
Virtually nothing.
No, virtually nothing.
Thing
Okay.
that John would have mentioned.
So he's learning today.
He's learning.
Incredibly careful of where you feed, who you feed on, and if you ever do overfeed too much, like either bury them deep or make sure there's nothing left to come back up.
Yeah, so he has probably done that in his time. He's overfed or something to get to his body. He goes, well, I know when kindred are meant to keep things tidy. If you overfeed or gorge yourself too much, then you've got to make sure the body's put away. Seems that, I don't know, is this what happens to them?
She looks at the individual as he's speaking, and she says, it might be, but I'm sure you know why that hand appeared on his neck then.
Yeah, McGee looks at the hand marking. This might be why the sheriff's intrigued, but I don't know. This seems a bit beneath the sheriff's investigation. Just a rogue kindred like this, they usually just call out the hounds, but you wouldn't know anything else about that, would you? He's still a bit suspicious of you.
She will tell him after he asks that question.
Because he knows. So he knows you're in the Invictus.
Yes.
Yeah. So he goes, oh, yeah, you, and he'll know the sheriff's probably part of it. He's the Invictus as well. So he'll probably say, yeah, the sheriff's buddy. He'll just send the hounds. But the sheriff being involved is very odd. This wouldn't have anything to do why the Invictus sent you.
She will look up at McGee, and then she will stop dealing with the license. And she'll look at him, and then she'll look down, and she'll say, I know the sheriff. And I know that if his hand is here, he intends to make an appearance.
Oh. McGee has never seen the sheriff, so he's like, oh, that's very interesting. I've never had the pleasure to see him. Many don't, unless they're in a lot of trouble. Look, he can. The sheriff can have this creature. I got what I need out of it.
She will nod, and she will take out her phone and tap a message. And I'll tell you what that is in a minute, Ben. And she'll say, well, McGee, you're right. Mostly people who come across him are in big trouble. And she kind of says that with a little bit of force, like there's something behind that. And she also
Would that come across as a tiny bit of a threat? Or?
No, not at all.
Okay, I'm just trying.
Nope, not how she means it. She would not threaten McGee in
Yeah,
his
okay.
own
No,
place.
I'm just
Not that stupid.
fair enough. Okay.
And you're not the one with the mark on your neck, so you have no worries.
No.
And she will say, I will tell you this, if you want an opportunity to show that you are part of the solution, not part of the problem, now would be time.
McGee takes a moment to think, and he seems to be calling back something in his head. And he'll look to the floor and then sort of kick his foot in a kind of imaginary thing, and then looks back up and goes, like I said, I wish to show my appreciation and my willingness to help our kindred brothers and sisters, all for the benefit of the system in London. If you need any more assistance or help or muscle, I'm sure I can give you a hand.
She will nod and she'll say, McGee, at the end of the day, and she will kind of tap the guy's foot. We don't want any more of these running around. That's bad for all of us.
Yeah, I've got enough dogs eating out my garbage as it is. Don't want any more.
And she will say, so it's all right if someone comes to collect this.
Okay, I'm happy for this thing to be taken away from my place, but I would like it to be noted of my what's the word? Helpfulness. What's that word? Yeah, my assistance in the matter.
Cooperation.
God. Yeah, I hope I hope you are reminded of my cooperation.
Adriana will, as he's speaking again, she will kind of walk over to the gentleman, Mr. Callahan, and lean over him again and kind of cock her head as she looks at him. And she says, McGee, I think you've gone above and beyond in this situation.
Oh, why, thank you. I'm not quite the savage many make me out to be. I can be very cooperative, as long as you respect my rules in my haven.
She'll look up and kind of put her hands behind her back, and she'll say, noted. And we can end there.
We can, McGee will do something, but we can do that off camera.
Okay.
That's cool. We're not going to end it quite yet, but if you two want to depart, I encourage it.
So Adriana would have messaged the sheriff that a package is ready for pickup, and that we should talk at earliest convenience. And she would say her goodbyes to McGee and depart.
All right. As for McGee?
McGee will, as she leaves, McGee is going to send his dog, his undead dog, to follow her to see where she goes. But that can be a roll and we can decide what happens later. But then he'll send a message to John describing the situation and describing the details of what's just happened. But the question mark, still not sure on Adriana.
All right. So is that all from McGee's perspective?
I think so. Yeah, I can't see what else McGee could do tonight. Again, he'll still have the individual strapped down, and I think he would sat there looking at the individual, trying to recall this memory of what this man reminds him of, the feelings this person's bringing up to him, but he's not sure what they are or why.
The only thing you're able to get from that is just that nostalgic and almost disturbing smell. More than anything else, this strange feeling is tied to that smell of raw blood. Lots and lots of blood. We now go to Adriana as she is going out to her car. I assume it's the car, right?
Yes.
How big is this car exactly, or did she, like, walk?
Um, I hadn't thought about it. Let's say she's walking towards the nearest cross street going to hail a taxi or the
Right.
car to take her.
Right? As you are standing there, you will just become aware of another presence next to you. Unlike the Nosferatu, when this individual appears, he doesn't leave some sort of indication of his approach. You will just hear very faintly in your ear, "You've done well, Adriana."
Adriana will stop in her tracks as she knows that voice. And she remembers when she told McGee that he is everywhere, that she should have taken that advice to heart as well. She will stop and kind of lean against the nearest wall and look around.
Just to say that McGee's undead dog is following
Yes.
you. And stuff.
Nice.
Does she notice
For
it at this point,
dogs,
or is it far enough back?
I'd say for storytelling purposes, it's far enough back so that way you won't
Okay.
notice it. Animals are particularly good at stalking prey effectively in one form or another. But from what it can
Cool.
tell, she's just standing by the post.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And
the
she
voice
will look
says,
and yeah, go ahead.
no, please continue.
No, she would just turn and look to her side, and she will say, "Are you here?"
I'm always here, Adriana. I told you that the day I embraced you.
She will look around to make sure that they are not, there are no people directly crossing in front of them. And she will kind of put her hands in her pocket and lean back, trying to look casual as possible, and that she doesn't look like a lunatic talking to herself. She will say, "I take it you got my message."
I was there when you sent the message, Adrian. We will have agents retrieve him. What have you perceived?
She will look down, and she looks, definitely like her feathers have been ruffled. She goes to great lengths to portray this kind of glacial personality when she's around other kindred, but it's not something that she's quite able to maintain in front of her sire just yet. She will shake her head, and she will say, "Well, he's definitely an orphan. Not quite sure whether he was an intentional orphan or not, but he may have been stalked by some sort of thing."
Your new friend was not wrong. The Nos would not have risked creating one of these orphans. This is the work of something else, something that is far less structured than our society. But that is not what I need you to focus on right now. What I need you to focus on is who sent this individual into the sewer. There are far larger players in this game. And if you find out who moves the pawn, you will find out the hand that must be dealt justice.
She will nod, and she will say, "I will find out everything I can on him and who sent him to do whatever it was he needed to do in those sewers." And she will look around, and she will say, "I'm going to possibly need permission to get up there. I don't want to step on anyone's toes."
This will be difficult. It seems the Nos, particularly the archivist, has taken an interest with your new friend's adopted sire. Things are in motion, Adriana. Things that may change the landscape of the city. Things that you must become aware of if our clan wishes to survive and continue to thrive. I will see what I can do, but you might have to intrude upon their territory.
She looks down at the cement, the walkway, and looks to the left, and she says, "Understood."
In that case, you will just feel a very gentle hand on your shoulder, one that you remember as life came back to you so many nights ago. David, would you please put the picture up right now? Be careful, Adrian. And with that, the hand will draw away, and you will be left standing, waiting for the cab in the night. And as the black hand fades away, so too does our scene. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful night.